capital partners to really take us to the next chapter of our brand story. As way of background, a little bit about my family's foray into this CPG world. My parents, prior to starting Artisan Tropic, started a food distribution company out of the trunk of their car. And that grew to become the largest distributor of Takis in the US. After 15 years of hard work, we sold the distribution company to Grupo Bimbo in 2021. Along the same timeline, my sister was diagnosed with an autoimmunity in 2012, and that led our whole family on a collective health journey of rediscovering and reconnecting to food as medicine. We became really passionate about the power of food to heal our bodies, our communities, and our planet. And that was the genesis and the birth of Artisan Tropic. These journeys led to starting Artisan Tropic with a vision of creating a delicious, better for you tropical snack brand that improves the quality of life of everyone that we impact. We've been in the market for 11 years, as I mentioned, over 6,000 points of sale. And it's been through dedication, passion, a sustainable growth approach, and hard work that we've achieved this. We are the number one selling plantain and cassava chip in Whole Foods for 4 years running, and have really exciting and positive year-over-year growth at key accounts, including H-E-B, Wegmans, Thrive Market. One of our focuses for this year has been expanding into the food service channel, and this has led to very successful rotations at corporate campuses like Netflix and Uber and Palo Alto Networks. Additional to that, we've launched in 76 airports nationwide and are launching an American Airlines co-branded product at the end of the year at 76 American Airlines Admiral Lounges nationwide. So very, very exciting sort of trajectory and path that we're taking here. The other element of innovation this year has been our brand new launch of the crackers. These crackers won the 2024 Nexty for Best Organic Product at Expo West. And not just, the Expo West enthusiasm, but the retailer reception and the consumer reception for these crackers as we launched them at the beginning of the year has been phenomenal. They're in over 1,500 points of sale nationwide so far, and quickly expanding to reach over 2,000 by the end of the year. And then there's an exciting pipeline of innovation that we're continuing to develop with new flavors for our chips coming, as well as multi-pack offerings and a brand new grain-free plantain tortilla that we're launching beginning of next year. This year we're on track to do 11 million in revenue, with another projection to hit 60 million in revenue by 2030. This is a sustained, strong year-over-year growth. And the way that we get there is by a few things. I mentioned the company is 100% family owned and operated, never raised outside capital. So the first piece is that we're raising the first ever outside investment and funding for the company. Currently, we're on our way to securing our first bridge part of that fundraise, which is $4 million via a safe by the end of the year. The second piece is debt restructuring that's gonna allow us to improve our cash flow, and really put us in a better position to raise our Series A next year. That will be raised at the beginning of next year with a goal of raising $6 million in a Series A price round. The second thing is capitalizing the business is going to allow us to support the expanded distribution that we're at the moment for, not just with the current products, but with new products and interest from a lot of important retailers. It's also going to allow us to give the brand the appropriate marketing support that we haven't been able to do so, and really position that in a way that's very, very effective, and the return on ad spend and return on investment for the marketing strategies are very, very targeted. And then the last thing is a strategic rebranding project that has been years in the making. And this is the first time that we've ever presented this or pitched this to the public. It's been internal to the company for months, but you guys will be the first to ever see this. So without further ado, I will present Really. So Really is real people, real food, really good. This is the result of years of market research, retailer conversations, consumer feedback, and we've built this rebrand on the pillars of the story that I told you and the brand essence that's built 11 years of successful product market fit. The upgrades come in the way of a fun, catchy, playful name, a deepened emotional connection to consumers, and transition into a chapter where we go from being a product to a household brand that lives in every pantry across the country. This is just the beginning. Really is set to transform the snacking and the clean snacking industry and create long-term scalable value for partners and investors. And we're really excited, and we're inviting you to create a world with us where the foods that we choose do more for our bodies, our communities, for the planet. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Great presentation. Wow, I wish we could try them. I'll have to wait until you come over this way. Right, over to the panelists. Elena, would you like to go first?
Yes, thank you so much for pitching with us one today. I really enjoyed the story and the new branding. Yes, beautiful journey. Congratulations for all what you have achieved. I would like to ask you, have you been thinking of exporting outside United States?
Yes.
Is it a brand adapted to resonate with a different public? Because we know that when we build the branding, we need to also take into consideration how consumers from other continents are going to receive the brand.
Yes, yes. For sure, the short answer is yes. The more immediate answer is that we're currently entering Canada for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
as well as conversations with some distributors and some retailers, including Costco in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, there's tweaks to different packaging callouts and things that will adapt to different regions and different countries. The US continues to be a massive market for us where we have um, our focus and our energy on. But the other opportunities and conversations with accounts in Mexico, Canada, and Europe are definitely on the horizon. One of the things that specific to our products and our brand position resonates very well with the American consumer is our commitment to seed oil free products. And I'm not entirely sure that that is as prominent in Europe yet.
Right, right. And also the investors will get excited about um, the brand equity value that you have built and also the distribution chain that you have already solidified in the US and now working on your expansion plan. What are the investors, like prospective investors profile you are looking for?
Yes, great question. Currently, we're in conversations and due diligence processes with a couple Latin American impact-focused investors.
Mhm.
And we've found that that is a very well-aligned and strategic investor for our company and our business model and what we're doing. We also have interest and a desire to find a more CPG strategic operational experienced investor. Um, the challenge there has been, a lot of the VC funds have a maybe a little outdated unicorn perspective on the food brands they want to invest in, um, and so finding the right partner in that sort of space and strategic alignment is something I think we're confident that we'll find when it's the right person or the right group. Um, and yeah, we have a fantastic vertical integration and support of the regenerative agriculture initiatives that we're doing in Colombia. So it's investors that are that care about that and that have a desire to have more than just a financial return on their money.
Yeah, absolutely. So these were my questions. Thank you so much, and wishing you good luck.
Thank you, Elena.
Great. Thank you, Elena. Let's have a look. Greg, would you like to come up next with questions?
Sure. Great pitch, Juan. In full transparency, I am the head of investor relations at Artisan Tropic. We're not in Africa. We're in Colombia. I think there's a little bit of a AI generated summary error there. Yeah, so why don't you share a little bit, Juan, about, I think it's on everyone's mind in the food space, the impact of tariffs specifically, and how the company being vertically integrated, and maybe if there are investments in further vertical integration, how that impacts the business.
Yeah, great question. It's I think the uncertainty of the tariff conversation has been more risky or harmful than the actual tariffs. So at this point where we are, I think things are pretty stable, but the past 5, 6 months have been a lot more uncertainty. The really beneficial thing that we see now is that, first of all, Colombia has a 10% tariff on imported goods. What we've seen across the industry is that most food brands have raised prices at least 10%, whether or not they're importing things from countries like Colombia. And so we, as a vertically integrated operation that has our own manufacturing facility, have been able to look at the costs and to absorb some of those costs in our manufacturing efficiencies as we scale and as we increase our volumes. Being able to approach retailers and say, hey, even though there's a 10% tariff on imported goods, we're actually going to only increase prices 7% or 5% on some items, because we want to partner with you, and we believe that if we're able to do that and offer the final consumer a better value, it's a win-win for the retailer, for the brand, and for the consumer. And then as far as integrating, further capacities at our manufacturing facility, we are in the process of bringing in some really exciting innovation to our processing facility, expansion of some different equipment to be able to launch the tortillas that I mentioned and that you saw on the last slide, as well as the crackers, which are currently co-manufactured in the US. The project is to bring that in-house and produce those in-house within the next year. And that in itself will improve our cracker COGS by about 30%. So that, as well as we increase the total volume output and production of the manufacturing facility, will allow us to be very competitive on pricing.
Brilliant, thanks. I'll let the other panelists ask questions.
Thanks,
Great.
Greg.
Thank you, Greg. Caroline, I'm going to let you go next. I haven't spoken to Caroline for such a long time.
Great to see you, Sasha. Great presentation, Juan. One question that I have is it's about the supply chain. So where are your suppliers located specifically? And do you have the whole volume within your suppliers, or will you have to develop new suppliers for this 5-year plan? And another question more related to go-to-market. What are your key channels and key regions for expansion? Or are you just going to grow volume through your own clients? If you could open up a bit more, that would be super useful. Thank you.
Yeah, great questions. So supply chain, currently because we're there, we have our manufacturing facility, we have, a team of incredible employees and workers there. We have the advantage of having really deep relationships with the farming community in the region. And so currently we source, very locally. We just recently signed an agreement with Acceso, which is an organization that has a network of small farmers across the country and other Latin American countries. And they support them through technical assistance, trainings, and different financial loans to bring to market their products in a way that supports, the livelihood of those small farmers, and that incentivizes them to adopt and employ more regenerative agricultural practices. So in this partnership, we've initially started with a small group of 15 families that we're purchasing product from on a weekly basis. As we project growth and volume necessities, they want to grow with us and expand that network of farmers that we source from. So that is a very direct way that we're going to grow our supply chain in a traceable and transparent manner. The other piece is that we have a small family farm that we've transitioned into this beautiful agroforest since 2021. And it's really a pilot and a place to show what's possible as far as the regenerative agriculture initiatives and practices that we believe in. That farm with two other rental projects is about 30% of our supply needs right now. So that will represent a smaller percentage as we grow, but it will still be a part of our supply chain. And then as far as channels for growth, the the levers for growth, you can think, I think about it as far as grocery. We have natural, we have conventional, we have mass, and we have club. And so currently super well positioned in natural, retailers like Whole Foods and Sprouts and natural grocers. We have an opportunity to continue, and I think that this rebrand is really going to position us as a very exciting block in the set that is going to allow us to expand some new flavors and different options around additional multi-pack offerings. Additional to that, we have very low ACV or coverage and distribution in conventional. So think your Kroger, your Albertsons, your HEB, we're in a lot of those, but as far as the total number of doors, that is a massive channel that there's still a lot of opportunity to grow in. And so a lot of the growth is from, projected growth and distribution expansion into that channel. The other is club, club being Sam's, Costco, BJ's. So last year we went from doing one rotation in a region in 2023 to last year we did 6 different regional rotations in 6 different Costco's with 2 items. And that represented about $2 million in revenue. And so in this strategic rebrand, it's actually been a very open and tight conversation with the Costco Salty Snacks team about this. And we had a meeting last month where we presented this new really branding. And they're very excited to present this to all regions and work towards national business with Costco. So that's a huge lever of growth and channel that we prioritize. And then mass being sort of Target and Walmart, the other big lever of growth, which I have a meeting in a couple of weeks with Target to talk about adding another SKU to our Good and Gather brand there. So those are some of the different channels and ways that we think about growth. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Caroline. Any more questions? Was that it, Caroline? Oh, good. Okay, great. Thank you. Right. Next up, Oliver.
Happy to. Thank you, Sasha.
That's all right.
One, appreciate the pitch. I mean, I think it's clear you've built something quite impressive here. I mean, 10 million in revenue, profitable, 6,000 points of sale nationwide, number one product in Whole Foods. That's quite impressive. Especially the fact that you've bootstrapped to this point. I think for me, I mean, I rarely come across companies that are bootstrapped to this extent or like to this stage. So I really appreciate that. And I know there's a lot of hard work that's gone into this to the point. One thing that triggers an area of where you could be a bit clear is how your production and supply chain scale alongside the growth trajectory that you have looking at 2030. You have a 40% CAGR, goal of reaching 60 million by then. And your family business clearly has a lot of experience in the distribution domain to get to the point where you are now. But I want to understand a bit better how you get to that next level of distribution. So what would that take, and how you balance this distribution success with furthering your brand and sustaining the customer brands like really that you're launching now. So maybe also speaking a bit about the team and how you plan to scale that with the company and the right expertise that you have moving forward.
Wow. That was a lot. That was a lot of topics, Oliver. Let me see if I missed
Yeah,
something.
sure. I mean, dive into whatever you.
Yeah, if I miss something, you tell me. Um, I heard you first talk about supply chain and capacity at the plant. So currently we're a little bit less than a sixth of our total capacity at the plant. So about a 6x ability to grow our current chip production and volume and revenue. Um, Adding the baking line, the cracker line, as I mentioned, will also expand our volume and our capacity to hit that $60 million in revenue. Supply chain wise, the partnership with Accesso is such an important advancement for us, and the they have such an interest in growing their network of farmers. Their issue for the longest time has been finding the market for that crop and that harvest and that production. Having a brand that's willing and interested in purchasing that gives them the runway and the ability to say, hey, we can expand our network of farmers because we have an aligned partner that's gonna purchase this product at the right price and bring it to a market that's gonna value the small farmers, the direct trade, and the regenerative agricultural initiatives that we're supporting. So that's a very, very aligned and direct way that we're going to grow the volume of our supply chain. As far as growing, you know, we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. I think that the diversity of our team, right? My parents' experience and what you said, right? Building a brand that's done $10 million in revenue, bootstrapped is very, very rare. So there's a financial diligence and strategy to doing things in a sustainable way that's gotten us to where we are. The really exciting and interesting piece is that as we raise financial capital, we're not just wanting money for money's sake. We want partners that are going to bring added value to what we're doing, that have the experience of scaling a brand from 10 million to 50 million to 100 million. And so, you know, that piece is super important for us, and that maybe ties into how we're thinking about structuring a board of directors as we grow, um, with obviously family members, but also with external members that are valuable to speak and help, strategize the operational growth. The last piece I'll mention is that we recently hired a CFO that has been such a fantastic addition to our team. His skill set is, obviously very, very well versed in investment banking and financial analysis and projections and modeling. That's been fantastic for us from a technical perspective, but then from like a perspective of like if you're in the business and have been for 11 years, you see things a certain way. So having his sort of external uh, addition and input and vantage point to the business, I think is also really important as we grow and go forward. I
Thank you for
might have
that.
missed a lot of what you asked, Oliver.
No, no, no. It was great. I think, I mean, for me, it seems like you're entering uncharted territory for the first time, right? Like now you're growing beyond. Like you sold the company, your family sold a company before. I assume at a kind of similar stage, but now you're entering this kind of new phase where you said, you're growing to 50, 60 million, which is something that now might be the time to bring in that, outside experience, people who've done that at this point. So is that one of the reasons also that you're fundraising now? So I'm wondering, like, why not just keep growing the business? If it's successful, if you have capacity with the farmers, you're making money, like, why do this now? Why fundraise?
Yeah, good question. Why now? So we had a certain business model and cost structure when Artisan Tropic started up until when we sold the distribution company. When we sold the distribution company in 2021, we quickly saw that the whole model changed drastically because the distribution company absorbed a lot of the overhead and startup and logistical costs um, of the brand for a long time. And so in that transition, we've seen, okay, the business continues to be profitable, but it's definitely changed, and there's more strain on the cash flow, the inventory management, different things that the cash conversion cycle requires. And then there's um, the piece around the work we've done to get to where we are, and now the potential to grow and expand with the launch of our new products, with the launch of the rebrand. Um, getting into stores is expensive, right? Funding, slotting, and different distribution expansion necessities are expensive. Expanding our inventory and our AR is expensive. And so there's different working capital needs that we could continue to grow in a very sustainable way that we have been. But we feel like the company has gotten to this point of inflection where if we want to grow in a stronger and more exciting way in the next few years, it does require the financial capital to do so.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for elaborating, and I hope you find the right mission-aligned investor with the skills that you're looking for. And I'm sure you'll be ready for that Series A
Thank you.
soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Oliver. And finally, for this round, Richard, are you up next?
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much, Sasha.
Oh, you're
It's a
welcome.
pleasure to meet you, Juan.
Thank you.
It's an honor. I kind of relate to a lot what you're doing because I've been in that position. Maybe about almost 20 years ago well, mostly focused in beverages in that sense, in the Latin and targeting more from a Latin American ready to drink products. So kind of relate to the bootstrapping and a lot of that because we did this kind of in the same area like that. And for us, it was quite simple. I mean, there was challenges from R&D and everything else, but when we began to scale, it took us about 3-4 years to really get going and so forth, and took a lot of strategic type of alignments in that sense of it. One of the questions I have is, what is the biggest challenge? I know you're touching on a bit on scaling production while keeping product quality consistent.
The biggest challenge, so initially it was because we were co-manufacturing. So the first 5 years of the brand, we co-manufactured our chips in Colombia. And it got to a place where the volume and the quality standards that we wanted and that we are demanded to have by our consumers and our retailers were very difficult. And so that's when we decided to build our own facility. And now that we have that facility, the quality challenges come around sourcing raw material. One of the unique, interesting things to our business is there's hundreds of varieties of plantains, and a lot of times you buy a plantain chip in the store, it was probably made with the cheapest, lowest quality plantain available, and it's all marketed and sold as plantain chips. We source a plantain that's like very, very premium for its characteristics, its specs. And so sourcing that is challenging at times due to supply and demand, due to weather, due to pricing of that specific type variety. Um, the the other challenge comes around um, some of the supply chain issues. So there's, very very well established logistical processes we have, but sometimes whether it be COVID or different logistical strikes and things that have happened at ports here in the U.S. Containers will be stuck at sea for, instead of 20 days, they'll be stuck at sea for 60, 70, 80 days. And so some of that, becomes a concern as far as the shelf life and the stability of that product. Um, the last thing I'll mention is that we do third-party testing of all of our products for seed oil-free certification, glyphosate residue-free certification, a paleo certification. They're certified kosher as well as gluten-free. And so maintaining that is very important to us and our consumers, but it is a serious time-consuming endeavor on the production side to maintain those certifications and all those standards up to date.
And my other question is, what do you see as the biggest growth opportunity in the long run, as far as traditional stores, A and B supermarkets, big box? How do you see what's your biggest growth opportunity, or exporting?
Yeah, I would say our biggest growth opportunity is Costco. I think Costco represents a fantastic alignment with our demographic and our target consumer, right? It's a high net worth shopper, very, very focused on better for you foods and snacks and options. Um, the volume is massive, right? Costco is represents incredible volume, very aligned and strategically a relationship that we've been developing in a very positive way. So I would say that's the biggest opportunity for us. What we don't want to do, to answer your question in a risk-averse way, is there's stories of brands that over-index on Costco and get to a place where they're way out over their skis, and one buyer change or one category decision maker having a bad hair day means that they lose 80% of their revenue like that. And so that's maybe some of the lessons that I've observed in other brands, and wanting to definitely prioritize and give Costco um, the opportunity to grow the way that it can, but also very much de-risk our business by continuing to grow and expand in other distribution channels.
And the last question I have is, what type of investor or partner you think it's going to add the most value to the journey of the brand?
Ideally, I think it's an investor or a group or a fund that has previous to meeting us has an alignment and a vision and a passion that's lining up with what we're doing, right? So they either have a very firm and clear commitment to supporting regenerative and climate smart initiatives, or they have a very clear alignment about, we want to bring better food that's actually nutritious and delicious to the American consumers. Somewhere along those different values and pillars that we have, I'd say that the biggest value from an investor would be their alignment with that and their true yes, the money's important and we want to exit this business and have a great, fantastic return in a few years. But if we fundamentally believe in these things that the brand and the business stands for, I think it's going to be very, very valuable to us.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Juan.
And thank you, Juan, for your presentation and answering all these questions. We did get a lot of questions. Right. I think Jamal's going to share the next presentation or just slide about that, and then I'll introduce the person. Is it coming up the slide? Great, thank you. So next up we have Marco Alva doing a business presentation on Grupo Olio Lab. So this is not a startup pitching, this is just a business presentation. So there's no questions about this. So over to you, Marco.
Hello everybody. I'm Marco. I'm the founder of this company. I founded this Olio Lab in nearly 2000, something like that. We were focused. Let me check. I was on the end, sorry. This is Olio Lab. So I'm the founder of this company. I found this company when I was 20 years, around that. I started with my family, my two sisters and me, this company. So we're focused on the avocado. We are from Guadalajara. There's a place where in Mexico where we produce a lot of avocados, and we will move to Michoacan in order to have better sourcing of avocados and everything. Now, in the time, we are producing about 3,000 metric tons of avocado oil, around that, up to maybe 5,000. And we are expanding our production right now. I was checking that Juan is from Colombia, but we just put another factory down in Colombia right now. We are starting to produce, and our plan is to grow down to Peru as well in order to grow our production. We are focused on that, on avocado oil, but now we are experiencing more other oils like jojoba and chia oil. Our main market is food, but now we are exploring nutraceuticals, cosmetic industry, and another customers. Our major customers in Mexico, we are leaders in Mexico. We have like 50% of the market in Mexico, and we are just starting with our brand in US market. But we have different kind of clients like Heinz or Walmart or Sam's, different clients. In US, we sell a lot of bulk and another co-packers. If you have any question, please let me know. Now we are from Guadalajara. We just opened the last year an offices in Texas because we want to get into the market. Right now we are trying to sell, well, we are selling to HEV as well and another small chains because we are just starting on the retailer chain in those places. So we are totally integrated as well. We are sourcing, we extract, refine, and bottling as well down in Mexico and extracting in Colombia as well. We have all the certifications and everything that the market needs from SMIDA, FCC 22000, religious ones like halal, because we export to different countries. We export to US, Canada, Spain, France, South Korea, Japan, China, and another different countries in Europe as well. So, but right now we are focused on our brand, and we are focused on the US market right now. As I said, we are trying to expand all our production, and with Colombia and Peru. And we want to grow like 3 times or 4 times our company. We're still being like a family company owned, and we want to double or triple our production with this expansion that we're planning. Now, as I said, we extract and refine, and we invented some of our own specific ways of extracting and refining. We are doing everything totally natural. That's why we can have conventional and organic certification. And we have been having a lot of growth because all the opportunities right now, as Juan said, that non-seed oil frying. So we have a lot of requests from the US market, from the frying people that do a lot of like Juan's do. So there's a lot of increase of the market right there. And another thing that we do, because we invest a lot of investigation and everything, we're trying to have all the things that we do with the waste and everything. Like, for example, right now with our waste, we're doing cartons, our own cartons from the factory and everything. We reuse everything. So we have more like revenue on that. As I said, we have all the certifications the market needs, religious ones, because right now we're going to start on the Middle East as well and divide and everything with different kind of clients. So we have all certifications requests for the whole market. Right now, our main the revenue, it's coming from avocado oil, but this is the market that we are getting right now, avocado oil, but we're going to get into the jojoba oil. We have our own plantations of everything. And so we are totally integrated. We can have very good opportunities on pricing, quality, and everything that the market needs. And as I say, we're growing and specific in Colombia and Peru and Mexico. And the market in Mexico, it's a little bit expensive for the price of the fruit. But Mexico, it's 70% of the producer of avocados in the world. So we're here, but in the market, it's growing so much. So Colombia and Peru is going to be very good for us because I think it's going to give us the enough avocados to grow our demand and the prices as well. It's a lot lower the price in Colombia and Peru than Mexico. It's maybe half of the price. So we expecting to have our numbers and our goals getting in that. The markets that we have, as I said, it's based on the food industry, mostly on the refined avocado oil. The cost is about 60% of that is the fruit. Processing and refining is about 20 to 25%. And the rest is on the packaging and the quality and the logistics. That is about the cost structure. Our margin, it's about depends of the market, but it's between 20 and 35%. It's about that. And with the mix of the thing that we want to do, mixing Colombia and Peru, we're trying to increase a little bit our profits on that. And we are about 100 million revenue company right now. And we're trying to increase with another different products and increase as well our profits as well with the jojoba and another products, more like margins on that, focus on nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, and different kind of oils. For example, one of the channels that we have mostly of our sales, it's Suvina in New York, Primal Kitchen, and Dollar General. We sell Dollar General different products as well. And we are like we do the private label for Walmart and Sam's as well. So we do a lot of bulk, but as well bottles, and we are open to do white labels as we mentioned. And so to pitch this up, so our expanding from 3,000 tons to double or maybe a little bit more, it's going to be with Colombia and Peru. And we are trying to have increase our margins with these two sourcing plans and that, and also exploring new markets like nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals as well. So that's our priorities and the next 2 or 5 years to run as soon as possible Peru and another sourcing products. So that's it. Thank you very much. Sorry, we don't hear you, Sacha.
So I'm mute. We've got a couple of questions in the chat, so I'll just ask those quickly on behalf of the people who asked them, just to keep time on this evening. So the first question is, what are you doing with the byproduct of oil processing, so the skin, pit, and pulp?
Oh, well, right now, as I said, we develop in-house a technology in order to do cartons. So we do all of the cartons and we take the pulp from it and we develop the carton. So we're trying to reuse it as a carton from our products.
Great. Okay, thank you for that one. Right, then the next question was, let's look. So this comes from Oliver. I've heard many stories about water shortages in Mexico and LATAM regarding avocados. How do you see this issue alongside your 4 times growth ambition? Do you think this will be an obstacle?
Oh, well, that's why we're trying to have another source in Peru and Colombia, and we're helping all the growers, trying to giving them all the investment and knowledge about how they do it and trying to make more fair prices for Colombia and Peru in order to grow.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the audience? If so, put it in the chat. If not, no more questions. And thank you so much, Marco, for your presentation. Oh, you've got a question quickly there.
Yeah, no, please follow up with us, Marco. We'd love to discuss further Artisan Tropic in Colombia. We're using palm oil, but we'd love to explore avocado oil. So glad that you could come on the call today.
Oh, thank you.
Great. That sounds good. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Right, and then we're on to our final startup pitching this evening. I assume, Jamal, you're going to share a slide before I introduce them. You need the next one. Yes, that's right. Great. So next up, for startup pitching this evening, we've got Aaron Guan, I hope I pronounced that right, presenting Neptune Nanotechnologies. So over to you, Aaron.
Well, Sacha, thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to present. Let me quickly share screen, making sure I have the right one. And can everybody see me? Is this
Yeah, if you can just put it on presenter mode.
Yep, perfect.
Right. Over to you.
So, thank you. So, hi, my name is Aaron Goen. I'm the founder and CEO of Neptune Nanotechnologies. And at Neptune, we're tackling one of FoodTech's biggest challenges. That is sustainable, safe, and high-performance packaging. And by transforming seafood waste, especially from the regions like Latin America, into groundbreaking next-generation packaging material. And our goal is to give food brands reliable and high performance and truly sustainable packaging with no trade-offs. Now, food tech is actually at a tipping point. Industries, investors, and consumers, they want it all, right? They want packaging that has high strength. They want packaging that has high water resistance, oil resistance, moisture, and oxygen barrier. And they want packaging that is truly sustainable. And legacy materials simply can't keep up. Plastics pollute, and some of these green options, they fall short on shelf life or performance. And a lot of them can't even meet the evolving regulatory or consumer trust. And this is our opportunity. So we take seafood shells, which is a massive waste stream globally and throughout Latin America, of course, and we upcycle them into a nanomaterial called kite nanocrystals. This material is actually stronger than steel. It's lighter than plastic. It's fully biodegradable and, of course, non-toxic. So it is a true nature-powered ingredient that is turned from waste into value. So for both local producers and, of course, global brands. So what does this actually mean for brands and packaging? Well, these nanocrystals, they actually act as an additive. And our nanocrystals can actually make packaging up to 3 times stronger, significantly more lighter weight, offers 10 times better barrier performance, while also cutting shipping costs, material costs, and provide unbeatable safety with no toxins, no leaching, and enables real recyclability. And of course, this is 100% biodegradable, so it leaves no trace at the end of life. And our traction speaks for itself. We have actually completed over 20 successful pilots with 60 more commercial trials well under our way. And our customers includes major players in pet food, global CPG brands, and leading paper mills. And we have also fully sold out our entire year of production well in advance. And now we literally have multiple companies waiting for us to scale with signed LOIs in hand. And the opportunity here is enormous. In the paper packaging space alone, the annual demand for sustainable additives is already at 4 million tons. And this represents a $53 billion global market. And in our own projections, by the end of 2026, we're forecasting over $2 million in revenue after our seed round expansion, $20 million revenue after our Series A, and over $50 million by 2029 after our Series B expansion. And our ability to scale is also anchored in robust IP. We hold 3 core patents covering core process, unique nanocrystal composition, and their applications in food-safe packaging. So this gives us defensibility and flexibility to optimize for products for every partner, regardless of being large or small. And our team is also world-class as well. Neptune's team blends science, commercial execution, and supply chain expertise. I'm a technology inventor with 9 patents, and I'm also a Forbes 30 under 30 founder. And our R&D is led by a senior Dow chemical scientist, and our business development lead is also a former founder with successful past exits. This is a team that knows how to turn innovation into market-ready solutions. And our vision actually extends far beyond just packaging. Kite nanocrystal, it's a true platform technology and will enable new value streams in bioplastics, in construction, and even biomedical applications, each representing multi-billion-dollar verticals. And here is our challenge. Our challenge is actually scale. Production today is actually well below demand, and we're selling out before we can even ramp. So we're ready to increase our daily output by over 200 times from 1 kilogram to over 200 kilograms a day, with Latin America among our leading regions under consideration for both supply chain and adoption. Now we're raising a $3 million seed round to expand our plant, our team, and our customer base. And every dollar that we raise will fuel fast revenue growth, high impact, and enables the next chapter of truly sustainable packaging. We already have over $1 million in soft commitments with lots of investor interest, and we're ready to close in September. So in summary, Neptune is enabling food brands, consumers, and supply regions like Latin America to lead in sustainable packaging with technology, with traction, and a team that's built to scale. I welcome your questions and your partnership to make a green feature, and thank you so much for your attention, and really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. Wow, fascinating what you've developed there. Amazing. Right. We've got Gennady who's joined us, who is one of our event partners. So I think this is a perfect question to start with you, Gennady.
Thanks, Sasha. Aaron, say a bit more about your go-to-market and business model. In other words, how do you make money?
Business model is actually quite simple. We are a material technology company, and you can think of us as a additive supplier. So we make bio-based nano additives instead of the traditional chemical additives. So our go-to-market is very simple. We work with the manufacturing partners, packaging producers, and other material providers as well. And quite simply, we sell into them. And in terms of how the roadmap works, right, it typically starts with what's known as a proof of concept validation, trial validation, prove our product is successful and shows all the properties. And the next step, which is in the phase that we're in right now, we're seeing a lot of demand for pilot scale demonstration. So testing our material in actual pilot production environments. And this is actually the demand that we're trying to fulfill. We're seeing a huge amount of demand from the market. And once we go through this pilot phase, it's actually going to enable 1,000-ton scale opportunities. So I hope that answers your question. And
Oh, it does, yeah. No, it,
Yeah.
it absolutely does. A bit of a follow-up on that. I'm trying a little bit to phrase it, so maybe you can. I think you'll pick up what I'm asking for. Is it a kind of a one-time development that can go into a whole bunch of packaging, or are you needing to customize for every single application?
That's a good question. And we actually don't need customization to the nth degree. So the technology, depending on where it goes, right? We have packaging applications that goes into paper packaging, right? We only need to develop for that paper market. And we're going into trials, but of course, every customer will want to do their trial and they will optimize the loading levels. So the level of customization you can think of is we essentially sell just one product, the chitin nanocrystal. It's an additive and it's going into their manufacturing process and depend on what they actually want. Do they want moisture resistance? Do they want oil? Or do they want strength? You are optimizing for different incorporation levels and loading levels. That is the level of customization that needs to be done. And of course, there are customizations for other markets. For example, resins, construction materials, that's a different ball game, but it's very similar. And we essentially only have to develop one type of product for each broader category. And then we're doing a smaller degree of customization to optimize for performance.
Okay, makes sense. Final question. Any regulatory watch outs, concerns, issues around various markets?
Good question. So in terms of regulatory, chitin is actually widely used in direct food applications and in packaging applications as well. So it does not yet have blanket regulatory approval. We do have to tackle them on an individual basis, like per application category, but we see that as a procedural risk, and we're tackling them right now. And for other business opportunities in a number of other markets, there are no regulatory hurdles at all.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Kennedy. Right, I'll go back to the rest of the panelists. Let's go to reverse order this time. So Richard, would you like to go first? Oh, you're on mute. Is it?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. No, thank you so much, Aaron, for the presentation. I've had some exposure in the packaging side of it. Worked with a company out in Ecuador that kind of have about 80 to 95% of the packaging area in that market, and also a big portion in Brazil as well. It's a fascinating area, and I worked with companies like Procter and Gamble, Unilever, and that sense of that, and I know a lot of the challenges that they go through, especially what's out there and with the suppliers that they work with. So I think you're in a great category, and this is exactly what they're kind of looking for. I wanted to see ways that how you were transforming seafood waste. What potential do you see of creating jobs, new industries, coastal communities, and that supply this waste?
Yep. Thank you so much for your feedback. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are valorizing what would actually go to waste. We're applying advanced technology, and we're turning this into an incredibly high value product that is also sustainable and circular. So yeah, we are really excited to be in this field, and we have lots of traction. We're bound by our NDA, but a lot of the brands that you're mentioning, we have definitely had engagements with.
No, that's excellent. That's excellent. Since you're here in the food tech Latin America, how do you see Latin America's role in your story as a supplier of raw material and as a test market, or both?
Fantastic question. So we're actually a Canadian company. Our headquarters is based in Toronto. And what excites us about Latin America overall is really both as a market and as a supply chain source, right? There's lots of availability for coastal raw material supply from a fishery perspective, and there is lots of biomass opportunities in Latin America as well. And a lot of the packaging that we're dealing with are cellulose based, so forestry fibers. So there is a lot of synergies that we see from a supply perspective, and really from a market perspective, right? Huge population, lots of demand for packaging, and of course, as Latin America grows, right, we're going into the consumers are getting a lot more conscious about really both the performance of the package as well as the sustainability angle. So we see it holistically. We're still early, so we are going to be focus our immediate next growth phase in Canada to prove out the pilot plans and prove out everything. But we are definitely taking a very, very global vision, and we see Latin America as a strategic piece for us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Right. Next on to Oliver.
Thank you, Sasha. Aaron, I appreciate the pitch. Thank you so much. I would like to dive a bit deeper into the technology. I'm really curious about how it works. And I guess just right off the bat, this might be a really silly question, but if you're talking about chitin nanocrystals, I assume there's no allergen kind of concern with food. That's all taken care of, right? If your source is shellfish. I mean, might be a silly question, but
Not silly at all. We actually get this a lot. So the way the technology works is chitin is actually the second most abundant naturally existing biopolymer in the world. So the feedstock is massive, and a big chunk of that does come from crustaceans, so the shellfish seafood. And how the technology works is when you actually get the shell directly, it contains about three components. It's got a lot of protein deposits and calcium carbonate deposits that's sitting on top of the chitin backbone. So it's not a silly question at all, because seafood allergies is a protein-based allergy. And if the protein is there, right, it can potentially trigger issues. But our technology is actually taking that incredibly deeply. So just from a raw material process alone, right, we're going through processes of deproteinization and demineralization. So our feedstock is already purified chitin, and that's not just it, right? Our technology actually turns the chitin polymer. We're extracting single strands of the polymer chains, and we're assembling them into single crystals. So internally perfect, flawless crystals. And of course, this brings the purity to a whole nother level. And secondly, when you actually turn the polymer chains into perfect crystals, you actually are able to achieve incredibly high strength. We're talking about strength levels that's higher than that of steel, for example. But of course, the chemistry itself remains to be chitin. It remains fully biodegradable. And how the technology works is when you think about it, it's almost like an ingredient. It's like a cooking ingredient, like a little bit of salt that you sprinkle into your cooking. Right? We're sprinkling a little bit of these incredibly high strength crystals into a whole bunch of material. We can talk about paper packaging, plastics, resins, construction materials, and the nanocrystal, they act as a direct reinforcement, making the whole matrix a lot stronger. And it has benefits because it's also a crystalline structure. We can apply that as a surface coating to give you really good barrier properties against water and oil. And what is also really interesting is chitin has the backbone chemistry that allows it to be completely flame retardant as well. So think about paper that doesn't burn. Think about artificial Christmas trees that doesn't burn. We're working with one such project right now. And it's really giving you a all-encompassing solution, really high performance, really sustainable. And because we're an additive, right, it goes in at microscopic percentages, typically 1% or less, right? The cost of the product is also incredibly competitive.
So, I mean, you mentioned a lot of interesting properties there. So that for me triggers the question, if it's stronger than steel and has all these flame retardant properties, doesn't it seem like that food packaging is like such a, I mean, why did you pick food packaging as the first industry if it's so broadly applicable, right? And we heard a bit about regulatory concerns about chitin still being accepted. Perhaps there's other industries where that's not a concern. So I'm curious about, how you're thinking about your pipeline and why start in food.
Our pipeline is actually interesting in the sense that our raw material feedstock is chitin, and our output is actually two different grades of chitin nanomaterials. We have a really, really high performance single crystal version, and we have a slightly lower grade, right? It's still nanoscopic, it's still highly crystalline, but it's a lot cheaper for us to produce. And when we look at the pain point of the packaging market, right, we are seeing demand for packaging that requires all of these performance properties, but also requiring it to be fully recyclable, fully biodegradable. So there is already great synergy, and it's essentially, hate to say this, but the packaging grade is a lower cost grade for us to produce. It's almost like a byproduct to our main nanocrystal process. And our high-end nanocrystals, they actually go into let's, for lack of a better word, fancier applications in nanocomposite materials, in resins and such. So it is really a dual approach, and we are also scouted by a number of companies. I can't mention their names, but we're talking about global CPG brands. And
just on that, in terms of the companies, I'm curious about how, and this is going to be my last question, just curious on how you're going to bring this product to the companies, because it seems you have a very interesting manufacturing technology that everyone's interested in. What is your plan? Are you going to have joint ventures, like build factories together with partners? Are you going to license the technology? How are you going to scale the company?
Our business model is actually incredibly simple. We produce this as a nano additive, and we sell it to these companies. And the sales cycle typically goes through two phases, right? One of which is the validation performance, and then the second stage is, can we see that validation again in a live production environment, right? That's what we call the POC stage and the pilot stage. So we've more than validated with over 20 customers now at the POC stage. And when we're talking about pilot, we're talking about these massive companies, and even running additive on their main manufacturing process for even a day will take tons and tons of our material output. And this is the demand that we're trying to fulfill. And once that is done, it's going to basically break open 1,000-ton scale demand with some of these customers.
Sure. Yeah. I guess, the question was, so wouldn't they want exclusivity then, and want to buy your company, or are you going to license this out to all different players, because you're going to get to that stage, as you mentioned?
We definitely had a lot of these major brands talking about exclusivity about us. The stage that we're in right now, because the presentation here today is about food tech and packaging, but we have other branching businesses that have also a lot of traction in the resin space and construction material space. So we are not ready to give out exclusivity at this stage, right? We want to develop the market further, and as we get mature, we can consider that. But we are seeing a lot of demand from multiple Fortune 500s that we think that we don't want to be giving out exclusively that easily. And in terms of licensing the technology, we are the ones that's producing the nanocrystal, but the application, the use of it is actually very easy. It's an additive. They just have to add it into their main manufacturing process.
Great. Thank you, Oliver. Caroline, over to you next. Have you got any questions?
Sure. Great presentation. I've lived with this pain about finding sustainable packaging, and I've heard that London changed the regulation, especially for delivery, And yeah, I see a lot of players here in Brazil looking, like especially pulp and paper, looking for different partners. My question for you, it's how do you see different technologies trying to tackle this same problem, like alternatives and upcycling solutions? How do you see these different technologies competing with you? And what are your differentiation on that? And another question is like, if you want to start a new plan, what is the minimum costs for volume, and what's the time to market to do that? And the last question is related to price. I was super surprised that's only 1% of the total packaging. So for application on I don't know, delivery, food delivery thing, can you imagine how this will influentiate in the end cost of the product, or what are the questions that the partner is going to ask you, and what things that you need help to evolve? So I'm super excited, and then later on I'm going to send you on the comments some funds that I really think that have a good fit for you. So if you need intros later on, let me know. I'll be glad to make this intros for you in Brazilian market.
Thank you so much for the offer on the introduction. We absolutely would like to have that, and a number of loaded topics. Let's tackle them one by one, right? So the first is the competitive landscape, right? We all know about the legacy players, legacy chemical, legacy plastics. We know the advantages, disadvantages. And I think the question is more directed towards the next generation of material, right? The upcycled waste, the biodegradable packaging, and also perhaps technologies like seaweed coatings. This is actually, I'm actually, from a macro perspective, we're so glad to see all of these solutions tackling the sustainability problem. And what makes us incredibly unique is that yes, we are a waste to value play, but we are not a waste to bulk material play. So you see a lot of waste to packaging type of solutions where they actually make up the bulk of the entire packaging material, be it bioplastics or unique fibers or seaweed extracts. And what really differentiates us is we're taking very, very little product and we're adding a lot of value, and the value translate by being simply an additive player. And what that enables us to do is we are actually going to bring a lot of performance characteristics, a lot of sustainability characteristics, while not having to physically ship a lot of products, and we don't have to physically build a huge giant plant. And this leads to the second question on cost, right? We foresee us, assuming we grow to a supermassive full-scale commercial capacity and our product geared towards the packaging grade, the additive can be as low as $5 to $10 a pound. And if you consider the additive ratio of no more than 1 or 2%, right? We are in a very, very healthy position. That's why we're actually attracting a lot of interest from massive players. And Caroline, I saw your bio. You worked with a major company that we're piloting right now. I can't say more, but I'm heading to the US to do a pilot next month with these guys. And that's really, really exciting. And I think the last question is really about building the plant and what is the capital requirement and what do we need. And our next plan is, as of right now, we are in a small benchtop pilot situation, right? The next stage is we want to go to a commercial scale demonstration plant, and our target capacity is about 100 tons a year. And it actually won't need all that much. It's about $1.5 million in CapEx and about $1.5 million operating expenses, and then we can run the plant for 2 years. And at that stage, we can actually achieve break even. And then it's all about scaling after that, right? We want to build the demonstration plant, we want to build the blueprint, and then everything else will scale linearly from that point. And I hope that answers all of your questions. And I'm really excited for the intro as well.
Great. Thank you, Karen, for your questions. You guys should definitely catch up during the networking afterwards, and exchange connections and things. Great. Right. Next up we have Greg. Any
Man,
questions?
Jamal, Sasha, well done. Between the last two presentations, there's some interesting collaborations that are brewing already. I'm speaking to Andrea Bonilla, our founder at Bioplaster. They take brown algae bloom, sargassum, from the Yucatan Peninsula, and they convert it into a bioplaster material. So I was just speaking to her about what you're doing, and she had said that apparently the issue has been cost for this type of chitin nanocrystal, but you're saying that you've got it down to $5 to $10 a pound. So she would love to have a conversation. We'll set up a meeting. And then I wanted to know, because we're building a facility in the Yucatan to address this really burdensome issue for the beaches in Cancun and Tulum, because it obviously overgrows and then piles up on the beach, and it starts to rot and create a sulfurous smell like rotten eggs. So the beaches are constantly being tended to with manual laborers to remove this stuff, and we're working with the hotels to actually remove it from the ocean before it hits the beach. So where are you thinking about building your first facility? You mentioned Latin America. Is Mexico, potentially the Yucatan, an area where you'd be considering it? And yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about the test case kind of factory that you're building.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic question. And well, first of all, we definitely have synergies with bioplastics in terms of really the compatibility. And the cost situation, we actually have that well under control. And especially in bioplastics, and we have experiences in other more like thermoset bioresins. And we're seeing a huge performance uplift at 0.1% loading ratio. So consider that basically completely take care of the cost to performance equation. And in terms of our scaling roadmap, what we are doing, we're a Canadian company, we're small, we don't have that far outreach just yet. So our next phase is really focused on building that demonstration plan first, right? We're going through scaling, there's still scaling research, there are challenges that we have to work through, and we want to be local, really prove out the scalability of the manufacturing to the nth degree. And then we want to scale globally. So really from a natural supply chain perspective and from a demand perspective, right, we see a lot of strategic fit with Latin America. And we're also speaking to a number of biomass companies out in Brazil, out in Mexico as well. And there's definitely a synergistic fit. And really the challenge here is we're a startup. We want to do a lot, but we got to take our step one bite chunk at a time. And we're focused on the next phase, but the phase after, it's all fair game.
Fantastic. And without getting into your intellectual property and too much detail, but just kind of a brief overview, how is it that you've achieved lowering the price point to $5 to $10? And does that price point allow for gross margin and profitability? Like, talk a little bit about the unit economics. And I know that Oliver had asked about the business model. So I don't know if you can
Okay.
dive into that a little bit.
Absolutely. So the quick question, the quick correction I have to make is it's $5 to $10 in a product form that we sell. So it's not chitin nanocrystals by dry weight, but it's the chitin nanocrystal additive in specific product forms. For example, the pulp and paper packaging, it's loaded at 20% solid content. And for the higher crystalline versions, it's closer to 10% content. And so that's number one, right? And number two, our patent, we actually have a really good coverage on the process and product. So we have lots of our intellectual property. I personally spent almost 10 years in the chitin game. I have 9 patents to myself in this field. And specifically regarding unit economics, what is incredibly exciting for us is we can actually achieve 100% yield from raw feedstock to chitin products. And the reason that is the case is it's about 20% yield towards incredibly highly crystalline single crystals. And then the rest 80% are still very good quality nanoscopic chitin. And our dual approach is basically allowing us to charge higher margins for more advanced market opportunities in the nanocomposite space. And then quote unquote the lower grade will go into a mass market and more consumer type of applications. And this really allows us to have fantastic unit economics as we have 100% yield versus the alternatives where funny thing is there actually isn't an alternative in chitin nanocrystal. There are chitin, there are chitosan. We are actually the only producer of chitin nanocrystal anywhere in the game. And so we are in a very, very unique position, and we're in a very strategic first mover advantage position as well.
Sounds like you've set up a really good moat there. I guess one last question, and maybe you said this, but I didn't hear it. Why did you go into this field of science in the first place? What was the motivating factor in your life, kind of personally? You could have potentially, I'm sure, done so many different things as a scientist.
Um, the short question, the short answer is I'm always about sustainability, right? I've seen the genesis story is almost my parents, they used to be able to swim in their lake and ocean and in the river back when they're young. But when I was growing up, the water is no longer safe anymore. So that really put my mentality towards saying we got to do something about sustainability. And my education is University of Toronto. I'm a PhD dropout as well, and my research had always been about bio nanomaterials, right? Achieving balancing performance and sustainability. And had to drop out of the PhD to focus on the company. And my son was born also at the same time. So I had to make some sacrifices. But I had always been motivated by sustainability. And I had the unique know-how, I had the technical background, especially around chitin. If you search up my name, I have a lot of publications in the chitin space as well. So, and we saw the opportunity to make an impact both from a sustainability perspective, but also a value perspective as well. So I'm taking that lead.
Beautiful. Thanks, Aaron.
Great. Thank you, Greg. And then finally, Elena, have you got any questions?
Yes, thank you for pitching with us this evening. I really enjoyed all the questions and all the answers. 100% exciting business presentation, and I love also your journey and your genesis story. There are still some questions to ask on your business case.
Of course.
I see that all the technology feasibility was demonstrated, and questions about pricing and everything you have answered. But I have a question related to the obtainable market, and I also would like to understand what is the biggest growth opportunity you would like to tackle, because you also mentioned that there are other products on the pipeline, so your focus at one point could change, or I understand that once you take this route, is it somehow going to be determined by the adoption, by the corporates who are going to support you, or what are the factors to determine your growth opportunity and where you want to take this company?
That is a fantastic question. And really, the first question is really to address it's the focus, right? We have multiple market opportunities, but we're truly focused on just one product, right? The chitin nanocrystal. And different applications really only require a slight tuning, dispersing in a different medium, right? So we're still very much focused on the core product, and it's the same product, and our core technology and competency is all focused. And really, the opportunity space is we really are quite simply a very simple business model where we're selling an additive. And if it works here, if it works there, it's really all the same to us, right? We don't have to make how should I phrase this? we're not limited by who our end market is in terms of the opportunity space. And we have a lot of traction coming from both the construction materials, the resins, as well as the packaging. And we are quite simply scaling to meet their demand. And we're scaling the same process. We're scaling them to the 1,000-ton scale eventually to meet their demand, but our technology remains to be very, very similar in different applications. And you're right about how do we pick our growth direction, right? And this is why I'm currently a little bit cautious with our next round of fundraise. A little bit more cautious about corporates. We already have corporate approaching us about exclusivity, and we think we're a little bit too early for that. We want to be raising capital, and we want to be, let's call it more independent to grow into a position where we have more bargaining power and we have more dictating power on our strategic position before we engage in all of that supply exclusively conversations.
Wonderful. And one more question, and the last one. Where do you see your company in 5 years?
Well, our financial projection says we will be over $100 million in revenue, and we definitely plan to hit that, and we see that demand actually. So even individual companies, some of the Fortune 500 that we're working with, the demand scale is in the 1,000-ton scale, and then one, two of these companies can actually take us to over $100 million in revenue. And our roadmap see us taking 3 fundraisers. We're making a lot of inroads with the current one. We'll have a pilot demonstration plan. And then we see ourselves doing a Series A towards the end of 26. That will be our first full-scale commercial plan, and that will take us to $20 million in revenue. And then expansion after that, we're basically scaling to meet demand. Series B, we're targeting about $100 million in revenue capacity, and that is right around 2029. And when we think about our global vision, right, it's really my upbringing shouldn't say allow me, but like shaped me to really focus on sustainability. And we wanted to see our products everywhere, right? It is basically creating performance advantage, and it's creating sustainability advantages, and we want to have that value propel across all industries. And I mean, it's a grandiose vision, but I truly believe it, and doing everything we can to execute that.
I hate to jump out of turn, but just real quick while you're still on the call, do you mind sharing the terms of the seed round?
We don't have a so the soft commitments we're doing is on a safe note basis, and we're targeting about a 15% dilution. So we're talking about $20 million in post-money valuation. And the reason for that is I don't want to be diluted more than I need to, and I still want to retain to have 50% ownership. I currently have 60. We did a pre-seed round, $1.2 million about a year and a half ago. And we also, because I'm a sole founder, we carved a big piece for our stock options pool to incentivize our employees. So again, it's really a balance of raising enough money to grow properly, but also not diluting out too early. So rough call, let's call it about $20 million in valuation.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Elena, for your questions.
Thank you.
A few questions in the chat, which I'll just ask quickly. Hopefully, we may have covered some of these by now. I'm not quite sure, but I'll just go through them. What kind of oxygen barrier can you achieve in food-safe packaging film applications?
That's a good question, and it gets a little bit more technical. We have worked with a U.S. company, a U.S. supplier in food safe PP packaging, and we're seeing about a 4x reduction compared to virgin plastics. And the nanocrystal is dispersed within the matrix. Full disclosure, that technology is not fully ready for market yet. We're still working on developing it into a master batch concentrate, so it'll be a lot easier for the end consumer to disperse. But we're making really good progress on that, and hopefully by next year we'll have that ready to go. And our primary focus right now that's market ready is in more paper-based packaging, and the key benefit is strength, water, and oil resistance.
Right. Thank you for answering that. There's someone that wants to connect with you with some opportunities. They've explained it in the chat, but I'm sure you can catch up during the networking afterwards. So you maybe just scroll down afterwards and just check. Another question here. What about the raw material finite quantities overall? Given its dependent of the fishing supply, so overfishing being a problem in many regions, are you sourcing from wild fishery, aquaculture, or both? Any plan for synthetic chitin production? I'm not an expert in this. If resources shrink.
That is a really, really good question, and I really share the concern. But to be frank, it's actually no concern whatsoever. Quite simply because chitin is not a limited resource whatsoever. It is the second most abundant naturally existing biopolymer, right after cellulose. And when we're talking about the natural consumption of just us humans eating seafood, just that supply alone is over 8 million tons of raw chitin. And our play is chitin nanocrystal. So it's a very, very small additive piece. So our mass commercial scale is, even in my wildest imagination, is in the 10,000 ton scale versus the 8 to 10 million ton supply capacity for the chitin raw feedstock source. So we are multiple orders of magnitude away from even remotely exhausting that supply. And in terms of supply chain resilience, chitin is actually not new, and there are existing supply chains in place because it gets turned into antibacterial agents and into chitosan for a number of direct food applications and cosmetic applications. And we're simply tapping into that supply chain, and that supply chain is then further tapped into the fisheries. A lot of it is really farmed crustacean. We're talking about farmed crab, farmed lobster, and farmed, frankly, is actually better for us because we have a control over the exact species of crab, so we can have a better control over the crystal structure itself as well.
Great, thank you. There's quite a few other questions in the chat, so maybe you want to have a look through those afterwards, because I think what we're going to do is move on, because we want to do just a few updates on events and a summary, and then we'll get on to the networking, because I know everyone's quite keen to get onto that before everyone has to leave. So thank you, Aaron, and we'll do a bit of a wrap up in a minute. I'm just going to share some slides that we want to go through.
Wait, just quickly, the food security first. Sasha, please.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, is that what I'm sharing, or you're doing that bit?
No, I'm sharing this bit.
Oh, fine. Go on. So then.
But to the program manager of the Food Security Summit X Dubai 2025 to just give an overview of the summit, and then I will also talk afterwards about Pitch Lounge and our involvement in what the excellent events he's working on. Please, Shubham.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jamal. So Food Security Summit X, it's an event which is organized in partnership with Ministry of Agriculture, Jordan, Animal Wealth. And the dates of the event are 17th and 18th of September. And successfully having the leaders from the Abu Dhabi Food Safety and Authority and also with the Arab Authority for Agriculture Investment and Development, we are hosting this event. So the next thing about our event is that this event is organized, it has a timeline that, this time it is organized in Dubai, and we have the vision of hosting this event each year in multiple locations across the globe, like Saudi Arabia, UK, India, US, and Dubai. So with that being said, covering the global markets step by step and hosting the event in each location so that the local companies becomes quite easy for them to join. And all the global companies can come to that particular location to explore the markets in that particular country. Moving ahead, we have various type of things that can be explored in the summit with a specific objective. So this platform can be utilized uniting, food systems, agriculture industries, specifically focused on technology aspects and the recent developments. This conference provides the leadership and top experts to connect one-on-one and have meaningful conversation with them. The empowering sessions, which are focused on latest trends, technologies, challenges, solutions to it, enlighten the startups, the researchers, scientists. So it's all about the enlightenment in terms of these sessions. The exhibition It's purely focused on showcasing the technologies and the products and the services, the solutions that you have for the upcoming challenges.
I'm aware that there's a problem with the visual, so I'm going to stop that, and instead I'm going to just share the link to that event, which is a fantastic event because it's the event that we had just last week on AgTech. So it's a 2.5. It was a really long bumper event that we had last week. Fantastic number of presentations. We had more volume, more number of presentations, but today we've had a fantastic level of quality and interactions. So if you want to check out that link in the Zoom chat, you have the full AgTech Pitch Lounge from last week, and you can, if you want to find out about the Food Security Summit, you can do so on our website at pitchlounge.net /summit. So that's where you find the information and the relevance between Pitch Lounge, Foodpreneurs Collective, and the Food Security Summit taking place in Dubai, 17th, 18th of September, is that we are organizing the startup ceremony in Dubai. And this ceremony is going to involve not just an award ceremony, but also pitches. And we are running those that pitch event. It'll be 3 to 5 minute pitches to an investor panel of both international investors and also locals from family offices, VCs, and angels represented. We ran a very similar event last year for 2.5 days in Dubai in September. It was green shoots, pitch competition under Gulf of Green, and we ran an entire stage, 5 workshops, 5 panels, and 5 pitch events with 15 startups competing for a grand prize and also a further 40 pitches on the final day. So we're doing it again this September, focused on food security. Many of the ag tech, food tech, and even the climate tech and impact startups that I know that all of us have within our network might be interested in that, in visiting us in Dubai. Sasha will be there running the show. I'll be supporting remotely and digitally. And we'd love to host you there. So if you're interested in being a speaker, a delegate, a startup presenter, or even exhibiting at the exhibition, please reach out to us and we can give you some more details. Okay, we're now going to do some thanks and wrap up the session. So Sasha, now you can share the deck if you've got it ready. The final wrap up, and then we're going to move to breakout room shortly.
Yep. Okay. So here we are.
Yeah. So we're now just going to do a little summary of who we had present. So thank you very much to Aaron Guan from Neptune Nanotechnologies. He actually went third. We also had Juan Pablo Guzman from Artisan Tropic. He presented first. They were our 2 startups that are raising investment and also wanting to expand. So please reach out to them both, and let's see what kind of success stories we can bring from this event. That would be fantastic. Thank you, Kurti, for joining us. Much appreciate your attendance. Next, please, Sasha. Also, big thanks to the presenting business and Marco Alvarez, who came and presented Oleo Lab. They're quite an established business of a few decades old. And thank you very much also to Richard De Lima, one of our panelists who referred them to our event. We're looking forward to giving you more exposure via the newsletter and further post this event. And I hope also people reach out to Marco if they're interested in collaborating as well. Now, there's a big thanks to our I think our panel's coming up next. Sasha? Oh, yeah,
no,
you heard the summit, so that's already been done. But yes, anyone that's signing up through us is getting 10% off. We're about to launch the shop in a few days through Sasha's business locally in Dubai. We look forward to engaging with you if you want to hear more about that. We've got various conference brochures and different things, but you can find the most basic information on the website. If you want to reach out to us about pricing, just drop us an email. We've got a special email for that, actually, at expo@pitchlounge.net. Next. Big thank you to the panel. What a panel. Fantastic. Wow. Really constructive, but really also incisive questions today, and also lots of offers to follow up and connect the startups with sources of opportunities. Big thank you to Caroline, Elena, Richard, Greg, Oliver, and also our strategic partner, Kennedy, who flew in and stepped in. And haven't heard from DJ. I hope he's okay. but Gennady as well. Thank you very much. Sorry, we don't have it on the screen at the moment. Next slide. We've got a few events coming up. You've heard about the summit already, but we also continue with some of our online events in September. I'll be running those. We'll also bring in a Drinkpreneurs edition. We've got our partner Niraj Singh on the call right now. We'll be doing a Drinkpreneurs MENA Halal edition in September online. We'll also be doing a Foodpreneurs Collective network edition as well online, focused on MENA. These events are more kind of feedback coaching. If someone's very, very new to investor pitching or has a new deck they want to try out in a new round, but they aren't live streaming these events, and it's more of a supportive dynamic. And also we host very holistic, varied panels. So if you're an expert in the area or an import expert specialist or a pitch coach, reach out to us and we can put you on one of our panels. Particularly if you're Middle Eastern linked or based in the region, you'd be a very good fit for these events in September. Or if you're in another region of the world, do bridge building with the Middle East, please reach out to us. We'd love to have you involved in these events. A number of these events on screen will be in person, in hybrid, in Dubai. A few of them will be networking oriented. So sometimes we do breakfast networkings, we do some evening events and dinners, and there'll also be a hybrid pitch event potentially happening in addition to the expo pitch event. But yeah, watch this space. Sign up to our mailing list at pitchlounge.net/newsletter in order to get some advance notice about these events and potentially even pitch yourself or refer a startup that could really benefit from this format. Yeah. Next session. We've got various community groups, as we might have mentioned before. LinkedIn is our main platform. We're very active on LinkedIn. I think our LinkedIn company page has gone beyond 3,000 this week. Our groups are 1 to 2,000, our main group, Food and Beverage Pitch Events. So if you go to pitchlounge.net/community, you'll be able to find the links to those groups nice and easily. And Sasha also bravely runs a WhatsApp community. She's braver than me. She runs a WhatsApp community largely for the Middle East region, and it's via country and by subsector within the food sector. So there's ag tech, there's food tech, there's food and beverage, CPG, there's Saudi Arabia, there's UAE. So if you're interested if you're either in that region or trading with or want to trade in that region, both commodity import export, but also investment interests, then reach out to Sasha or just go to the website and you'll find the link to that group and you can just apply to be part of the group. Next.
Oh, that's the end now, I think.
That's the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're going to move to some more. So
oh, sorry, I found this one.
I did mention if you want to be a panelist, there is a very short web form. It's like 3-4 fields long. We need that because often when we come to build the panels, we just need to have get you in our database so we can really look at the options assessment of where people are, who they're representing, what skills they bring to the table. So please do apply there. I think at least 89% of the panelists who apply to us get on an event at some point. Yes, our events are pretty much exclusively food and beverage, ag tech, impact, climate, sustainability, hospitality. But we are looking to maybe branch out a little bit. We do some female founder agnostic events, and that they'll be coming back in by the end of October or even latest November this year. We'll be back with our female founder series. So yeah, be in touch. Next. If you want to partner with us, that's great. We've had actually Elena sponsored about 12, 15 events between 2021 and 2022. We've had other sponsors as well, sponsored 25 events, and it really does help us have some backup team. Because today they're all on holiday. But also to be able to offer founders subsidized and also even free access to our events, right? For coaching, support, which it really does make a difference. Some founders actually need that. They're pre-revenue or, they're bootstrapped and every penny counts. So it'd be nice for us to be able to offer occasionally some pro bono slots more often. We do occasionally do. But if you come on board as a partner because your company wants to engage with this sector, various stakeholders, exposure purposes, but also you maybe want to get a guaranteed panel position every time, then you can come on board as a partner like Elena and Kennedy have. That would be really helpful. Yeah, next. That's it, guys. Thank you for joining us for our Startup Investment Pitch event today. It was a FoodTech Pitch Lounge. I'm Jamal Maxey. We also have Sasha, in the call. We're now going to stop the recording and live stream, and we're going to move to breakout rooms. So yeah, goodbye to the ones on the live stream watching, and those that are watching us on catch up. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you back again, and please drop a comment or connect with us on LinkedIn. Thank you.